Life is a ruckus. It is full of noise. In fact, you're hearing some right now. I've always lived around a noisy environment, such as my wild dogs or the high-energy conversations of my family. But I also live near a main street, an airport, and a freeway. Fun, right? Between the main street, the airport, and the freeway, what do you think is the most annoying in terms of the noise? Did you guess the airport? If so, I can see where you're coming from. There's a helicopter. I don't know where, but it's just going crazy. But airport noise only lasts a couple of minutes at a time. If you guess Main Street, the slow traffic is quite silent. The freeway is thus far the most prominent. Although it is elevated and has a sound barrier to mitigate the road noise, I can hear its distinct rumble day and night. But why should road noise matter to us? According to some studies, they claim that there may be a linkage to road noise with increased stress, sleep disturbances, increased risk of heart attacks, and possibly obesity. Upon finding this, I wanted to test something. There are soundproof foam panels out there, primarily for recording studios. They are great at minimizing the noise, but putting panels of foam next to a freeway isn't the greatest of ideas. I noticed the soundproof foam panels have an interesting design, as they are patterned sharply. I believe this pattern helps to dissipate or break up the noise. I've also noticed that the sound barrier that faces towards traffic only has a simple brick pattern and stucco-like scoring, so I thought applying a pattern similar to soundproof panels could further reduce the noise. To test my theory, I decided to make two concrete panels. One will be flat, the other would be patterned. I made them the same height and length and tried to use the same amount of concrete. In order to replicate the desired pattern, I molded one of the concrete panels with egg cartons. However, long story short, the smooth panel was simple enough to make. The egg carton one was far from simple. Either it being not having enough of the same egg carton, the concrete cracking, or the egg carton simply sticking to the concrete. I then made a soundproof box to house the decibel meter I had and placed it against the back of the panel I was testing. Also, placing a speaker 3 feet from the panels and playing a recording of high-rate road noise that I had on my phone. I ensured the speaker was connected to the wall power to ensure the volume would be as consistent throughout multiple trials. I ran through several tests with both of the panels, even ones with and without the lid of the soundproof box. Upon getting the results, my theory has been busted. Apparently the patterned walls were worse in reducing the noise that emitted from the walls. To make matters worse, the patterned wall took much more material as it was heavier, it was more difficult to make, and broke much more easily. I believe the patterned wall did worse than this simple wall because the patterns weren't affecting the noise that much. Thus, the thinner wall supporting the patterns was the only factor that reduced the noise. That wall was, of course, thinner compared to the simple wall. Another thing I took note of is the peaks of the pattern were way too steep, whilst the pits were way too deep. I wasn't able to adjust the height of the peaks because the egg cartons imprinted that shape. Even though my proposal didn't work, my tests were extremely limited. I didn't try the reflection of sound, only the absorption. Also, I could have tried to find the best sound-absorbing pattern, and not only testing one. Furthermore, the patterned wall had much more cracks, which might have made it more susceptible to vibration, thus creating more noise. Overall, I do believe that embedding a sharp pattern may help to alleviate road noise, but I haven't found out yet.